Long before the early 90s, BMW was contemplating production of a luxury SUV. But it wasn't until 1994 that the vision came to life when they acquired Land Rover. This led them to producing their first ever SUVs. The E53 X5 was revealed at the 1999 Detroit Motor Show, and with its four-wheel drive capabilities and rear-wheel drive feel, it was marketed as a sports activity vehicle. After many iterations of the X series, the X1 was released in 2009. The BMW X1, also known as the E84 X1, has been a staple for the Bavarian brand's entry-level luxury SUV. Their goal at the time of conception was to capture the younger adult segment and expand their market share of the SUV business. Now in its second generation, known as the F48 X1, BMW continues to see strong demand for their entry-level SUV. Today, we're taking a look at the BMW X1, here on Full Throttle Car Reviews.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Full Throttle Car Reviews. Very excited today to bring to another BMW, the BMW X1, and talk about the likes, the dislikes of the exterior, the interior, and the driving dynamics. But first, I want to give a huge shout out today to our sponsor, Katie, for letting us borrow her car and review it. Thank you so much, Katie, for letting us borrow it today. And also, before we go any further, would love for everyone out there tuning in to hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you are in tune with every new episode and content that we come out going forward. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Also leave a comment in the comment section below on anything that we could do better, or a car review that you want to see as well. So really appreciate everyone out there tuning in right now. So with that said, we'll go ahead and get started with the exterior. All right, so starting off from the front of the exterior of this BMW X1, I actually really like it compared to the previous generation. The previous generation didn't really look as aggressive from the front end. This new BMW X1 generation looks a lot more aggressive, looks a lot sportier just in general from all the proportions, but especially from the front. You've got these two large kidney grills that obviously are big to allow air to flow in and help cool the engine. This is obviously an evolution of the kidney grills on all of the BMWs that BMW SUVs that have come in the past. And I really like how they did these twin kidney grills on this BMW X1. So you actually have some silver trim around the kidney grills, and then you got some kind of flat silver trim on the grills themselves, and it looks really good. Complements the color and just the overall look of the car really well. Then when you move a little bit to the middle of the car, you've got air intakes right here where air will go in here, and then it'll cool the engine, cool the brakes, helps for aerodynamics as well. And then obviously you've got your front intercooler air intake right here, and you got some silver trim down below that, which looks really nice. And then when you move over here to the left side of the front of the car, or right, depending on how you're looking at it, you also got some flat silver trim right here, and you actually do have a functional air intake right here. So this is an auxiliary cooler unit right here where air goes in, and again, that helps cool the engine, and the internal components in there as well. So but moving above that, the headlights, I love the way that the headlights look. They're very sporty looking, a little bit more aggressive looking than the previous generation. On this model, they do have the LED headlights. So you get full LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. They look really nice. So really like the way that those look. And then obviously you've got your signature BMW emblem right here. A fun fact about the BMW logo. Not only does it look nice on all of its cars, it's very iconic, a lot of history, through racing and, just engine development, history and just the legacy that BMW has. This logo actually goes all the way back to the early 1900s when they built airplane engines during the war. So if you look here at the logo, the blue and white actually signifies a propeller engine. So again, that goes back to when they were developing airplane engines for during the war and everything. So as we move up from the emblem right here, the BMW logo, we've got some really good strong character lines on the front of the hood right here that start at the front and they move back, and gives it a really good stance from the front when you look at it. I really like the way that these lines look on this front hood. But these lines, they kind of move back down the side, and they just continue along the side of the car to the back of the car. But the way that BMW designed these lines and indentations on the front of the hood makes it a little bit more aerodynamic, and especially more efficient when it's driving on the highway or in the city. So moving to the side of the car, I really like the wheels on this BMW particularly. So they're 18-inch wheels. And these are just the standard wheels. There's no special package on this car or anything like that that gives any kind of aggressive look to the wheels or the car in general. But I really like the way that these wheels look. They're kind of like a silver gray look, and again, they're 18-inch wheels wrapped in run flat tires. And I really like the way that they look, and they're standard brakes as well. So just 2 piston caliper brakes up front, and they look really good in general. You got the BMW logo in the middle there, and looks really good. So yeah, but moving to the back here, again, 2 piston caliper brakes on the rear wheel, and again, just 225 tire, 18-inch size rim. Looks really good. The color of the wheel looks really good. I mean, I really like the silver and gray look that is going on with this with these wheels that are all around. So, all right. So now moving on to the rear of this BMW X1, really like the design that they chose for the taillights. It looks really nice and sporty, very sleek. It looks really good. The taillights are LED, and just they really complement the back of this car really well. Another thing I wanted to point out was the rear deck lid, kind of has it's almost like an integrated spoiler on top. It looks really nice. I mean, obviously BMW didn't have to do something that on just a standard edition or a standard level trim car, but they integrated it really nicely into the back of the car here. The bumper looks really nice and integrated into the back of the car, and you actually have functional twin rear exhaust tailpipes. Again, BMW just they earn points and just total merit for having real functional tailpipes. I seriously cannot get over why car brands do fake tailpipes. I don't understand it. It's crazy. Doesn't look good to me. I know some people say, oh, well, you don't have to clean the tailpipes then. But, in my opinion, I'd rather clean them if they look real, okay? That's just me. So you got your BMW X1 logo right here. And then also you've got the S-Drive 28i logo on the back as well. So S-Drive means front drive. Now, I don't know why they didn't just say F as in Frank drive, F drive, but S drive is their nomenclature for front drive. And then they also have a trim level that's X drive, which is all-wheel drive for the BMWs. So this one's front drive, and again, you got the real tailpipes and some silver trim down here, and just a little bit of a rear diffuser. It's nothing crazy or anything like that. But you got a little rear diffuser right here down there that helps when air's flowing under the car, and then coming out the back, helps channel that air and keep the car stabilized when it's driving at higher speeds. Inside the BMW is the beating heart of a B48 engine. Now, this is the engine that was in the previous model as well, but this is the B48 BMW engine. It's a twin power, twin scroll engine, turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and basically it puts out 228 horsepower and 258 pounds-foot of torque. Now that's fast enough to get it from 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, which is pretty good for an SUV. This is a compact SUV, so that's that's very respectable. It's very efficient. It gets about 30 mpg on the highway and 26 in the city. So it's very respectable mpg numbers, but it's a really strong performing engine, and BMW has been known for their strong performing inline 4 turbocharged engines. So it's definitely a great engine and sounds pretty good when you're pushing it a little bit hard as well. So one other thing to point out as well, you actually have a brace, a strut brace right here that goes across the top of the engine compartment, just to kind of help stabilize the chassis and just give it a little bit more rigidity. So I really like how BMW did the interior on this X1. It looks really nice and well laid out in the car. The interior is like a beige color that's nicely complemented by some wood trim, some dark wood trim, and some silver trim as well, all throughout the cabin. And it looks really nice. The buttons are all easy to find, and just really well laid out. And the steering wheel is nicely proportioned as well. So it's like a nice thin, relatively thin steering wheel. And all the controls on the knobs, and you got your cruise control and everything, and your phone control and media control and whatnot. But again, BMW, they like to do driver-focused interior. So what that means is that everything is slightly angled towards the driver, so that it's easily accessed, and so that the driver can focus on driving and whatnot. So, but really like the way that the BMW did the interior in this car. The seats on this BMW X1 are actually a faux leather. So it's BMW synthetic leather seats. So they call it Sensitech, and so that it wasn't cowhide or anything like that they used for the leather. They're actually really comfortable, very supportive, well bolstered and whatnot. These seats do have the automatic adjustments and everything down here, but overall really nice and well laid out interior in this BMW X1. The infotainment system in this car is BMW's iDrive system again, so you control everything in this X1 via a rotary dial. So you control the infotainment with a rotary dial, and it's really easy to use. This one actually doubles as a touch screen as well, so you can actually touch the screen and control it that way also if you don't want to use the rotary controller. But I prefer to use the rotary controller just because it's just easier for me, and if I need to focus on driving while also controlling it, it's easy to do that rather than reaching up and touching the screen. So but yeah, the infotainment screen is very snappy. It's easy to use and navigate through, and the navigation looks great. This does have Apple CarPlay as well, so you can hook your iPhone up to it and utilize the Apple CarPlay system on top of that as well. Alright, so driving the BMW X1. I actually really like driving this car. I mean, it's a compact SUV, and it actually drives kind of like a sedan almost, which is kind of funny because it does ride higher than a typical sedan does, and it's carrying a little bit more weight than a typical sedan does, but it's actually really compliant on the roads. The suspension is really dialed in well for bumps and any kind of road imperfections, and it's a really comfortable car to drive. The car does come with different driving modes: Eco Pro, Comfort, and Sport. And basically, if you put it into sport mode, it'll drive, a little bit more responsive. So, the throttle response is a little bit better, and, the engine sounds a little bit more growlier, if that's a word. It's a really nice car on the road. It's very compliant, very just comfortable to drive in all types of situations. It honestly even doesn't feel like a front wheel drive car, because this is the S-Drive BMW X1, not the X-Drive, which is all-wheel drive. But it's a really, really comfortable car to drive. I can see why that BMW has a lot of success in selling these X1s, because they're a good all-rounder, and they're not overly expensive as well. So but yeah, so I love driving the BMW X1. Great handling characteristics, and it's just a nice, fun little car.
The BMW X1 is a competent SUV, and its road handling manners are fantastic. Its front-wheel drive doesn't feel front-wheel drive, and its ability to transport you wherever you go in comfort is a wonderful characteristic. The fact that it drives like a sports sedan is a testament to BMW's engineering and refinement capabilities. It's clear to me now why BMW wanted to create this compact SUV. Because they knew that an entry-level luxury SUV would sell well among the younger adult population and expose them to the fantastic Bavarian driving dynamics. Thanks again for tuning in on another review. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let us know any likes or dislikes in the comments section below. We'll catch you on the next episode here on Full Throttle Car Reviews.